Okay, the number 13, 14, and 15, I want, you're going to need to write a reason on your test. So like it's going to say number of solutions, and it'll say this is number of solutions is basically what this is. And so on your test, it's going to say determine the number of solutions and give a reason. Okay, so it's going to say number of solutions and reason. Okay. Okay, now remember, the easiest way to determine the number of solutions is to put them into y equals mx. Sorry about that. That was our lunch bell. It's time to go to lunch. Okay, so the easiest way to do this is to turn it into y equals mx plus b form and then compare slopes and y-intercepts. Okay, so I'm going to put these both into y equals mx plus b form. Okay, so negative 6x plus 3y equals 9, so I'm going to have to add 6x to both sides. Then I have 3y equals 6x plus 9, so then to get y by itself, divide everything by 3. So then I have y equals 2x plus 3, okay? And then I need to do it with negative 8x plus 4y equals 12. So I add 8x to both sides. I get 4y equals 8x plus 12. And then I need to get y by itself, and that 4 is keeping the y from being by itself. So I got to divide by 4. So then I get y equals 2x plus 3. So those are the same. Okay, so this is infinitely many solutions because I have same slope and same y-intercept. Okay, same slope, same y-intercept. Okay, so on your test, when you say infinitely many solutions, you also need to, the reason would be same slope, same y-intercept, which means they are the same line. Okay. Okay, number 14. So I'm going to do the same thing, put it into y equals mx plus b, compare slopes and y-intercept. So I have 2x minus 3y equals 1. So I'm going to first subtract 2x from both sides. If you need a refresher on how to do this, go back and look at pre 6.2. That's what we did in pre 6.2. Okay. Then I have negative 3y equals negative 2x plus 1. So then I divide by negative 3 on everything. So then I have y equals positive 2/3, because a negative divided by a negative is a positive, x. And then I have a positive divided by a negative, which gives me a negative 1/3. Okay. And then I have negative 4x plus 6y equals negative 4. Okay. So then I add 4x to both sides. 6y equals 4x minus 4. I draw a little line here. Then to get y by itself, I divide by 6. And I get y equals 2/3 x, because I can divide both 4 and 6 by 2, and when I do that I get 2/3. And then I can do the same thing here, divide them both by 2, so I get 2/3. Okay, so now I'm going to look and I'm going to say, okay, they have the same slope, but their y-intercepts are not the same, which means there's no solution. Those are parallel. Okay, so this is no solution. And the reason would be same slope, different y-intercept. Because if you think about it, when they have the same slope, that means they go, the rise and the run is the same. The up, over is always the same. So they're going to have the same steepness. It's going to be exactly the same steepness. However, this one's going to start at negative 1/3 for the y-intercept, and this one's going to start at negative 2/3, so they're going to be like this. They're going to increase at the same amount, but they're going to be parallel, and they're never going to touch each other. Okay? So if you want to describe how the lines look, you'd say parallel, never touching. Okay? So they're never going to intersect, so they're not going to have a solution. Okay? And we have number 15, which I'm guessing if you can make a guess, you would know that we did infinitely many solutions, and then we did no solutions, and now it's time for one solution, but let's see what that looks like. And you always want to check just in case you made a mistake on one of the other ones. Okay? So I'm going to add 10x to both sides. So I have 5y equals 10x plus 30. And then to get that y by itself, I divide by 5. So then I have y equals 2x plus 6. Okay, so then I do this one, negative 2x plus 2y equals 6. Okay, add the 2x to both sides. 2y equals 2x plus 6. Divide by 2. And then I have y equals x plus 3. Okay, so remember we always look at slope first. So do they have the same slope? No, not the same. Okay, which automatically means one solution. Okay, so one solution automatically. Okay, and your reason is different slopes. You don't even have to mention the y-intercepts because the y-intercepts can be the same and still have one solution because the y-intercept can be the solution. These have different y-intercepts, so it's still one solution because of those different slopes. So the moment you see different slopes, that's one solution automatically. Okay? Okay, last question number 16. This is a word problem one. A candle shop sells scented candles $16 each and unscented candles for $10 each. The shop sells 28 candles today and makes $400. So you need to write a system of linear equations that represents the situation. And then it wants to know how many scented candles did the shop sell today, how many unscented candles did the shop sell today. So this is where we're going to solve. Okay, but first we have to write a system. Okay, so if I know that scented, so number of scented candles is X, and number of unscented candles is Y, okay, then I know if I add the total of those numbers up, I get 28, okay, because it told me that there were 28 total candles sold today. Okay, now, I don't know how many scented candles were bought or were sold, but if I did, I would multiply that number by 16 to figure out the total cost for the scented candles. But I don't know. I just know that the number of scented candles was X. So I'm going to do 16X, and that's the total cost or total amount from scented candles. Okay. And then I'm going to add 10X, and that's the total amount from unscented candles. Okay. And then that's going to equal $400, which is the total of all candles. Okay. So that's the total of all candles sold. Okay, so now I have my two equations. Here's my two equations. Okay. So I'm going to use substitution. So I have x plus y equals 28. I'm going to get y by itself. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. So I have y equals negative x plus 28. Okay. I'm going to plug this should be 10y. I'm sorry, not 10x. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to plug it in up there. So then I have 16x plus 10 times negative x plus 28 equals 400. Okay, so I'm going to multiply, I'm going to distribute that 10 through. So I have 16x. 10 times negative x is negative 10x. 10 times 28 is 280. Okay, 16x minus 10x is 6x. And then if I subtract 280 from both sides, I'm going to move over just a little bit here, I get 6x equals 120. Okay, so this went away. 400 minus 280 is 120. Then I divide by 6, and I get x equals 20. So that means there were 20 scented candles sold today. So I just wrote that above there, just so I can remember. Okay, so now I'm going to take this and I'm going to plug it way back up in here. Okay, so that I have 20 plus y equals 28. So then to solve for y, I'm going to subtract by 20 on both sides, so I get y equals 8. So there were 20 scented candles and 8 unscented. Okay, remember when it's an actual situation, I don't want it written as an ordered pair. I want you writing like 20 scented, 8 unscented, so that I know that you know exactly what it's talking about. Okay? Okay, go ahead and go do step 2 on the Google Classroom assignment.